Greetings, family. This is Bomani Tamba, and we're live on Revolutionary Camp. I'm here with my wonderful sister, and we're here to talk about traveling, living, and doing business in Ghana.
All right. So my name is Nannette Bari, and I recently went to Ghana. I got back on the 21st of March, and it had been 10 years since I've been to Ghana. And so I made a choice to not stay away from Ghana that long because there's so much that I and the people around me have to contribute that it doesn't make sense that I stay away that long. So from here on out, I made a choice and I made a commitment to go back to Ghana once, minimum a year, to make sure that I start setting up shop, making my contribution, developing networks, and just having fun at the same time.
That's beautiful. Now, you said 10 years ago. Now, where were you 10 years ago?
10 years ago, I was in Oakland, California. I was living in Oakland, California, and I went for 6 weeks to Ghana because I was looking for investment opportunities. The real estate market at that time we had sold property, made a lot of money, and right after that, the real estate market collapsed. So I went to Ghana to look for a business opportunity, and I remember going there. I stayed with my aunt. Every day I would leave early in the morning, go build up networks, go to this internet cafe that was big in Accra at the time, and just build up relationships with different people, look for different businesses that I could interview, and then I'd come home late that evening. And my aunt told me that I knew Accra better than she did because I would be out early and come home late. So I did that for 6 weeks, just getting to know Ghana, not as a tourist, but as someone who lives there day in, day out, to figure out how to get around. I was on the trotros. I was roughing it. I wasn't taking taxis because I was too cheap. So I got that experience. And what I found was I was able to just ask in my broken tree, because I had to learn a little tree to get around. My broken tree, I would ask around and get directions from here to there. And I always ended up in the right place. I never got lost. I was never in danger. And so I had a great time. So that's the last time I came. So in between that time and now, some things happened that were a little unsettling as far as my family. So I needed to get everything back on track. So when I started hearing about Chinese takeover of Africa, I thought to myself, how are people from China able to go to Africa not knowing anything? And I know something, and I have family back there. What's keeping me from going back there regularly? And from that moment, I made the commitment to go to Ghana regularly and to make sure that I'm staying connected and setting up shop so I can eventually move there.
Excellent. I love the whole foundation of what you built because that's what it's about. It's about doing your research, doing your networking, and putting things in place. And then so you go from the point where you're traveling and you're spending extra time in Ghana to where you're getting a feel of, like you talk about. You're not just enjoying the tourist aspect of it. You're roughing it a little bit. You're taking chochos and so on. So those, I feel, are the balanced experience. So we tell people, when you come on a journey with us, if you want to make those moves, do the journey in 2 weeks and then stay back for a month or longer or whatever you can work out, because that will build that ultimate experience. So based on you doing the tour part of it and you doing the moving around on the local space, you was able to get all of what you needed to get to where you had a Ghanaian there that's been there all our life saying, Accra more than her.
Yes, exactly. So I had a great time. And one thing I wanted to share with people too was, I think it's so important to travel. And I know a lot of people do travel, but I know a lot of people don't. And I started traveling really young with my mother. My mother was very adventurous. And one thing I noticed was it built my self-confidence, because when you can go all around the world and you're able to communicate with all different types of people, with different backgrounds, different cultures, different language, and you always are able to find a common ground, that not only gives you that exposure, but it also supports you to know, you know what? I'm more than I ever thought I was. And it opens your world up and actually makes your world smaller at the same time, so that you're not as fearful of the world and what's going on around us as propaganda would like you to be at times.
Absolutely, and that's the importance that we have to lay in the foundation for our children and our brothers and sisters in general in the African diaspora and on the continent, because we see here in the African diaspora, we sometimes we hear information of white folks saying, "Oh yeah, don't go to Africa, it's bad there," and all these other things. But then when like all of us who go on a plane always saying that it's so much white folks on the plane, and then we always talk about when they get to the country that they're chilling, they're enjoying themselves, and nobody's bothering them or doing anything to them.
Yes.
So we're like, if white folks can come and enjoy Africa and travel, we have to just open up ourselves, and because when they're traveling, they're not just only traveling. Some people are traveling and they're doing investments and moving and making moves in certain things. So people don't just end up in places. They, when they're traveling and they're exploring, they're thinking about how they can invest, how they can do things. So the programs that we have set up for us to repatriate and connect into Africa, doing a journey of a lifetime tour, it gives you that dose of energy to where you can have that full clarity, have all of the links to the people you need to be able to make those decisions beyond just your regular tour itself. And it's one of those things where we talk about children, our future. We have to just set up our people in general with the right information and the right connections, because Africa is one of the best options for us folks. As a matter of fact, I keep on telling people, where else are y'all gonna go unless y'all find a way to leave this planet and go to some other planet or something? You're not gonna be able to escape certain things. So the best thing for us to do is just make Africa the place for us and our children.
And you just reminded me, I was at a real estate function recently in Lancaster, California. I'm from Palmdale, California, so it was next door to me. And as I was leaving the real estate function, a woman comes up to me and says, "What's your name?" And I told her Nannette Bari. She said, "No, what's your full name?" And I said, "Nannette Etuahene Bari." She was like, "Oh my God, you're from Ghana. I'm from Ghana too." And I remember her from years ago, but she'd cut all her hair off, so I didn't recognize her. And I told her, "Wow, I just came from Ghana." And she shared with me that she actually just came from Ghana a few months ago and was living there for 6 months. She had planned to move back permanently, but there were a couple of things she told me that took place that she would warn everyone of. So the first thing was that when you go back, you make sure you either have a flow of income here or that you have a way to develop cash flow in Ghana. For her, she would have loved to stay, but the cash ran out. So she told me, make sure that you have some kind of flow of income wherever for your stay in Ghana. Secondly, she told me that when you're working with other people on the ground in Ghana, doing certain projects, etc., if both of you are vested in the project, both of you should be giving money towards the project. It shouldn't just be you giving the money and the other person just running the project. That you want to make sure that both of you are vested in it financially, to make sure that if there's any kind of trouble or challenge, that that person on the ground will have that commitment that you do because your money is in it. So if both of your monies are in the project, then there's more commitment, more dedication, more persistence to make sure that you get problem solved. So those are some of the things that she shared with me that really got me to take certain actions that I would not have taken if I spoke to her. And the last thing she told me was that whenever you're proposing a new project to a community, like a village or anything like that, let's say you want to open up a community center or something like that in a specific area, when you go to the chief, you make sure that you have some kind of tangible benefit for the community. So you're not just going there saying, I'm developing this long-term project and the community doesn't see a tangible benefit from it right off. I can give an example of some white missionaries that I met, on the way back to on the way back to the U.S. And when I spoke to them, they let me know that they were evangelizing in an interesting way. So they were in Tamale, and they were going to unreached areas where there were no Christians, mostly Muslims, and they were going to evangelize. But they let me know that their strategy was to give the village water filters that they could put in the buckets, so that if they had murky water that they were using for bathing, for washing, for whatever, that they could put that water filtration system inside the bucket to clean their water. So they gave this to 200 of the villagers at the time. So with that, of course, the chief is grateful, everybody's thankful, etc. The man let me know then that they couldn't just end there, that they had to go back to build the relationship with people once they'd given that gift of the water filtration systems. And then they would have the opening to evangelize, to spread the word of Christianity. So that not only applies to religions, that applies to any project that you're going for in any community. They have to see something tangible and immediate, a benefit that they can see tangibly and immediately, for them to be more open to whatever project that you're proposing or whatever plan that you're proposing to develop in their area. So like I said, these are the things that she shared with me that really opened my eyes to more work that I could do to make sure that as I settle, it's a great experience and a more evenly keeled experience versus a volatile experience of ups and downs.
Absolutely, my sister. Appreciate the energy on that. And family, we're gonna continue on with more of this, my sister, wonderful experience. Now, with you, you're talking about personalities and how certain things work. Now, what are some of your other experience in the country dealing with Africans from the diaspora? Because you did run into people from the diaspora, right, that live there in Ghana.
Yes, absolutely. And I learned a lot. So some of the sisters I met there in person, I've known from a Ghana Sister Repat community on Facebook, online, and I took time to actually go visit them. And one of the things I found out was that they just made sure that they didn't make the difference between African, the difference between African American a big issue. Mm-hmm. All of us can be friends. All of us can support somebody who's mourning a death. All of us could be happy and joyful for someone who has just given birth to a baby. Same thing for a marriage. We can all be there as friends. So whether you're African American, whether you're coming from Europe, whether you're coming from any part of the diaspora, just be you and be a friend to everybody around you as you see fit. And that makes your experience easy.
Absolutely, family. One of the things we definitely have to come with is come with an open mind of respect and understanding that Ghana and other parts of Africa are developing nations, and we have to make sure that we're clear on our purpose of being there, because we can't come there and then feel like we're looking for America because it's not there. So if so one of the things that we're building there in energy in Ghana is we support this 100% black-owned hotels, and the reason why we do that is it's a simple situation where you live in a black country and then you have a lot of foreigners coming and invest their 5-star hotels and everything, and then next they just get all the business and everything, and then we as a people never get to develop our own local market.
Yes.
So that's the science of that, family. So the experience of what we have there in Ghana, did you stay at the Michelin Hotel?
I stayed at the Michelin Hotel. I had a beautiful experience in the Kumasi. They have a hotel in Accra,
Michelin
and they have
Accra. Michelin, Accra, and Kumasi.
Yeah, hotel in Kumasi. And I'm an athlete, so at the Kumasi Hotel they had a gym and we had a great time. There was a trainer there who worked with us every morning and we had a good time there. And then just the experience of the hotel, etc. I had a very good time there, and they just had a spread out campus, what I call it. The hotel where you ate was in one space, where you exercised was in another space, and then where the hotel was, your rooms were was in a different space. So they had a lot of land for the hotel in general. So I really enjoyed the Michelin Hotel in Kumasi.
Well, perfect. And one of the things we talk about is that experience. Did you feel that home feel experience staying at the Michelin that you may not have felt if you stayed at the Marriott and the other hotels that they have right there outside the airport?
Yes, absolutely. My house name, what they call it in Ghana, is Yechan. So at the Michelin, they all called me Yechan. It wasn't Nannette, it was Yechan. They always asked me how my day was, very personable. They made sure they asked me how everything went when we went out that day. So it was a very personal experience. We also stayed in Ebri at Sister Adjoa's place. And I can't remember the name of the hotel, but in Ebri, we stayed in a hotel there. And this was a sister who's lived in North Carolina for 25 years. She moved back to Ghana, started her hotel, and that was a great experience as well. Beautiful site, beautiful hotel. And then in Cape Coast, Elmina, we stayed at Brenu Beach Hotel with Sister Agnes, and her place was beautiful as well, right along the beach. Every morning I was able to walk and jog the beach, swam a few days, had a great time with the people who were there locally, meeting with them every evening. So we had a beautiful time, and all these were Ghanaian owned hotels. So we did support and had a great experience, had a wonderful experience.
Exactly, fam. That's the way to do it, and that's what I love about the Ghana program. Because I feel like if we, at this rate, if we keep on coming to Ghana and building a strong positive energy, we as a people can really build something strong. And it's kind of like how we had it going on in the South at one time,
Yes.
where we had so much black-owned business and we're doing business for ourselves and we're thriving. Especially when we talk about Black Wall Street,
Yes.
Oklahoma City. These are the things that we can do, and we've done them in the past, so we can definitely do them in the future. I always hear people talk about we built America. Well, travel to Africa, invest, do business, and we will build the African continent. If you really feel like we built America, then why can't we be responsible for being a part of the future with our own brothers and sisters on the continent to build Africa
Together?
The people. So it's one of those things where all these things deal with work, and that's what we illustrating with you. Now, on your journey throughout Ghana, what's the furthest north you went in Ghana?
That was Kumasi. Kumasi was the furthest north that we went, and in the future we'll go to like Volta regions, go to.
You went to you went to the Eastern region, though, right?
Wow, yeah, Eastern region was northmost as well. Yeah, yes.
Well, you're further east, closer to Togo. But where exactly did you stay in the Eastern region? Did you stay on the Afrikiko Resort?
No, that was the Sister Ajua's hotel that I told you about over in the Ibri area.
Oh, you're talking about that part of Eastern region.
Yes.
There's another part of Eastern region by Lake Volta.
No,
and that's the part that I was mentioning
there.
About there. All right, cool. Because Avery is considered the Eastern region.
Yes.
Yeah. So perfect. So family, there you go. So Eastern region stretches, which is connect right there on the mountains and go all the way across Lake Volta, and then that part also picks up as the Volta region, taking you further towards Togo. So family, Ghana is just that incredible, and we only talk about the bottom half of the country.
Yes.
One of the differences that we have in the itinerary is going to Techima in the Brong-Ahafo region. I love the waterfalls in Kintampo and the Monkey Sanctuary by Sunyani in the Brong-Ahafo region. Now, when you go to the Eastern region, the Volta region, there's a set of waterfalls and Monkey Sanctuary also in the Volta region. So Ghana has it's just an incredible country, and we're only talking about the tropics. We haven't even talked about the Pan-African history yet,
Yes.
or the African Holocaust. So when you're in Accra and when you first went to Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park and you saw this statue of this Pan-African visionary and then his memorial behind, what did you think?
For me, what I learned with the tour guide, because we had a guided tour which was amazing, all this time. My parents are from Ghana and everything. All this time, I thought that when the colonizer came, when the British finally came to colonize Ghana, I thought the whole of Ghana, as we know it today, was colonized. But that was not the case. So when I went to Kwame Nkrumah's memorial, that's where I learned that. So a lot of the times when we have the guided tours, you learn so much about
Absolutely.
Ghana that you normally wouldn't learn if you just walked around yourself or you were there to just take pictures. So the guided tours were amazing, and that's where I really enjoyed the Nkrumah Memorial.
Perfect, family. Now, did you go on to George Padmore Library and Kwame and W.E.B. Du Bois Center?
I went to the W.E.B. Du Bois Center and learned a lot about W.E.B. Du Bois and his experience in Ghana and the work that he did in general, because I didn't know as much about W.E.B. Du Bois except from what I knew learning about him in school. So that was excellent to get into the house that he lived in. And also, while I was there, the African American Association of Ghana has a site where they hold their meetings
Right in the back.
at the W.E.B. Du Bois Center. So I went to one of their monthly meetings as well while I was there. So I got an experience not only of the W.E.B. Du Bois Center, but also the African American Association of Ghana as well in that same location.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I realized there, and I've been to one of the meetings, and much love to our brothers and sisters that have formed the African American Association of Ghana and the Caribbean Association of Ghana. We've had both of those organizations at our business conference, and I've met with many of their members and connect with them and network with them. And I always, and that's why we always talk about organization is important. So family, that's another route that you can connect with our folks there in Ghana by reaching out those organizations. You know, you can just do your local searches and things like that. But we have so much wonderful people there. And as we talk about that Pan-African energy there in Accra, Ghana, and we talk about Kumasi, the Dinkra stamps in Tanso, and the Kente cloth at Banware. Did you get your shop on at those parts
Yes,
in Kumasi?
I did.
Did you have to keep on going back to the ATM machine?
No. I had my money ready. So we went to Bonere and we bought our Kente cloth there at great prices. It is the authentic weaved Kente cloth. These days we have the print, which is not authentic. So I make sure when I go to Ghana, I do not buy the print. I buy the actual authentic cloth to support the people in Bonere and all over those places where they print and they actually weave the Kente cloth. So we also got to see how they made the ink from scratch to put on the Kente cloth that was weaved. So I got to get a Kente strip, and I put my little symbols that I wanted on my strip. So mine, of course, was leadership. That was one Adinkra symbol I put on my cloth. And the second was defiance, because
Excellent.
the meaning of defiance in that Adinkra symbol is I'm not afraid of you, you're not afraid of me, and we work together. So those were the two symbols that I had on my cloth when we went to Entuso.
All right, cool, excellent. So family, now we're giving you a runaround of activities around 5 different regions, and we had to close you out with the Central region, which is where we do our African Holocaust connection, where we do our Ancestor Day 1 and 2. We go to Asin Manso, which you went to Asin Manso, which is important because one of the things is whenever we're doing these historical journeys, we have to add in the death march before the dungeon. Our ancestors were cleaned up at Asin Manso. This is in the central region of Ghana, about 45 minutes before you get to the main road of you get to the Cape Coast Road, the Accra Cape Coast Road that takes you into, that takes you in the direction of Ivory Coast or Togo. So once you make it on that main road, you're right there in Elmina, Cape Coast. So one dungeon Elmina, one dungeon Cape Coast, big, huge, scary looking dungeons.
Yes.
Houses many of our people. So that connection from Asin Manso, once you got there and you just saw the site in the presentation, what did you think of just the overall presentation? Just there, seeing the grave sites of our two ancestors that were repatriated, or their bodies that were repatriated.
For me, the whole experience, from the washing to the actual dungeons, just let me know what work had to be done to break the spirits of these powerful Africans, to prepare them for the jobs, the slavery that they were facing, because these were not slaves that were taken from Africa. These were people, everyday people. Matter of fact, I'm reading a book about a man who got taken by the kidnappers, the slave kidnappers, as he was washing himself in the river. And so he wrote a book about his experience being brought to Barbados first and then to the US. And so I'm reading that book. But what I really got from that experience was that when you're dealing with a human spirit that's not used to slavery, there's certain things you have to take that person through to degrade their spirit before they get to the spot where they will actually work as slaves. So when I was there at the dungeons, that was really made clear. I've been there before, but I think because I'm older and I have more experience in life, I really get the system that was used to break our spirits before we were transferred from Africa to the Americas.
That's powerful. Those are some historical, places right there. So the connection at Sin Man, so connect you to what happened to our ancestors in the dungeons and how they got there. So we do that in a flow of 3 days where we go through that whole process, family, and we stay at one Africa resort. You stay at a different resort, but you basically there in tropical Elmina, right there by the beach, and that was that wonderful experience. I'm sure you was able to kick back in a hammock and relax a little bit. It is the ancestral connection, but at the same time too, we're also there in paradise to just ease up a little bit, refocus and realign before we head back to this side of the world.
And we actually did visit Sister Amakus and her son Nana Kofi, and we spoke for a while. We came to see what work we could do together. So we did have a great time with them at One Africa Resort, and it is a beautiful space along the coast, and so you will definitely enjoy yourselves.
Yes, definitely, family. And for more information, family, about our wonderful journey of a lifetime to Ghana, visit our website, africafortheafricans.org. Check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/Bomani, youtube.com/Bomani 2007. And just flow through a world of just pictures, videos, and documentation. That way you can be cleared about traveling, living, doing business in Ghana and other parts of the African world, so you can be prepared for this movement, this exit movement of a people from Black Africa diaspora and returning home, family. So that is the movement. My sister, thank you for all the details of your enjoyable, wonderful journey recently to Ghana as you made your way around the 4 different regions out of 10 regions and everything. And anything else you want to just add in closing? Any business or investment ideas or energy you want to share?
I just want to share that, Brother Bomani, this is a movement that he's created, and I really appreciate all the time and energy that you put into this. Even sitting here with him today, I realize how much work, how much dedication, how much commitment he's put towards all of this. And you guys can't see, but behind the scenes, there was a lot that went behind even us sitting here today, and how accurate he is, how determined, even detail oriented. I'm watching all of this, and it's amazing what he's doing. So definitely support this brother. He has a heart of gold and is really committed to this movement. Absolutely,
my sister. Appreciate the energy. And family, as you see on the shirt, Ethiopia. So that's where we go in November 2018. Ethiopia. You're talking about 7-city journey, November 16th to the 26th. We're going to be literally flying around Ethiopia. In Ghana, we take a tour bus and we drive around 5 regions. In Ethiopia, we fly around many parts of the country. So it's incredible, family. We got lots of wonderful highlights of our last Ethiopia journey, which is May 2017. And you can check it out, the Rockwood churches. You can check out the Blue Nile. Check out historical parts of Ethiopia. You can see wonderful landscape. Go back in the history of times. You talk about Shashamani and Awasa, nice tropical parts of Ethiopia where you can build your community and connect in. Family, it's a lot of wonderful things going on and in Africa, and some of the best ways to really experience Africa. You can enjoy watching the videos and the highlights we have. But like my sister was saying, she loves traveling, and it's about getting out there and connecting and doing things. And it's more than just us spending all of our money.
Yes.
Now we're actually building a future, and it's no cheap way around it.
Yes. And really getting to know who we are so we can be a gift to this world.
Absolutely, fam. So family, once again, this is Bomani Timba, live on Revolutionary Cam with my sister Nannette, and we are going to be connecting with you next time, and we have lots of work to do, so we got to go, and we'll link it back. Keep it strong. Sister, thank you for coming through, and we'll see you in Atlanta or somewhere, or see you in the motherland in the future.
And I'll be there in Ethiopia one of these trips, so just count me in.
Excellent, family. That'll work.